This coin didn't just lose its value, it poisoned an empire.
This wasn't an accident. It was financial fraud at the highest level, and everyone knew it.
What you're looking at is a denarius from 270 CE. It's supposed to be silver, but when we put it under X-ray fluorescence analysis, something horrifying emerges. 98% copper, only 2% silver. This isn't just ancient history. It's happening again, right now, to us. In the next 11 minutes, we're going to uncover a 2,000-year-old financial crime that's repeating today. From secret minting conspiracies to soldiers literally refusing their pay, this is the story of how Rome's greatest enemy wasn't barbarians. It was their own money. Picture this, July 19th, 64 CE. Rome is burning. For 6 days and 7 nights, flames devour 10 of the city's 14 districts. The Circus Maximus, gone. The Forum, reduced to ash. Emperor Nero stands in his palace, watching his empire literally turn to smoke. The damage assessment lands on his desk like a death sentence. 2.2 billion sestertii. That's roughly $50 billion today. Enough to bankrupt most kingdoms, but Nero has a plan, a quiet deception that will echo through history. He summons his most trusted mint workers to a secret meeting. The monetarii, Rome's master craftsmen who've been creating perfect silver denarii for centuries. His order is simple but devastating. Add copper to the silver. Just 8%. No one will notice. That decision launched the longest economic collapse in human history. What started as 8% copper would eventually become 98%. These mint workers developed techniques so sophisticated they'd make a counterfeiter jealous. They created coins with pure silver surfaces while cores contained massive amounts of copper. Using blanching, they'd dip debased coins in acid baths to bring silver to the surface, creating the perfect illusion. Graffiti found at Pompeii includes one desperate inscription: Numis non vale. The coin is worthless. These weren't just craftsmen. They were accomplices in the slow-motion destruction of civilization's foundation, trust in money itself. Nero faced converging catastrophes. The Armenian War cost 150 million sestertii annually. His Golden Palace, 300 million sestertii. Grain subsidies, 75 million yearly. Plus, escalating Praetorian Guard bonuses from 3,000 to 15,000 sestertii. Here's what's spine-chilling. Romans immediately knew their money was being debased. Pure silver denarii had a distinctive ring when dropped. Debased coins produced a dull thud. Street slang emerged: Rufus Nomis, red coin for bad money. Yet people kept accepting them. Why? Because Rome was creating the world's first fiat currency system, 2,000 years before modern economics claimed to invent it. By 68 CE, merchants demanded 10 to 15% premiums for old money, pre-Neronian denarii. A monetary class system emerged. The rich hoarded good silver. The poor got stuck with debased coins. Once Nero crossed that 90% silver threshold, he'd created the debasement trap. Every emperor faced the same nightmare. They needed more coins to pay obligations, but each debasement reduced purchasing power, requiring further debasement. Here's the trap. Any emperor who tried restoring currency value would face military revolt. This explains why 31 emperors between 235 to 284 CE all continued debasing rather than reforming. A legionary's base pay was fixed at 225 denarii annually, despite continuous debasement. Military papyri reveal soldiers increasingly demanded payment in goods rather than coins. One papyrus from 251 CE shows a soldier refusing his entire annual pay in coins, demanding vestimenta et frumentum, clothing and grain, instead. This fundamentally altered Roman civilization. Armies became self-sufficient agricultural colonies, accidentally creating medieval feudalism 2 centuries early. Merchant networks spread awareness faster than government edicts. Traders developed ratio argentaria, coded communication of real silver content across trade routes. Provincial markets often rejected new imperial coins before they even arrived. Economic warfare had begun. Local mints weren't about convenience, they were economic rebellion. Gallic Empire mints deliberately maintained 15 to 20% silver compared to official Roman coins at 2 to 5%. This created parallel currency zones where good provincial money drove out bad imperial money. The purchasing power of a soldier's annual salary fell by 90% between 200 and 300 CE. A modius of wheat cost 2 denarii in 200 CE, but 330 denarii by 301 CE. Romans understood valor intrinsicus, intrinsic value, versus valor impositus, face value. After 215 CE, Roman coins functioned as sign money. Their value derived from imperial authority, not metal content. They were proof of empire tokens backed by military force rather than metal. Here's the contrarian insight. Maybe Rome's inflation wasn't primarily monetary but structural. A 2023 study found locally produced goods increased only 2 to 3 times over 200 years, while imported goods increased 50 to 100 times. The real crisis? Trade disruption and supply chain collapse. Roman villa analysis shows the top 1% increased landholdings by 400% during debasement. They converted debased coins to real assets while poor Romans couldn't. The period 235 to 284 CE witnessed economic collapse on a scale unrepeated until the 20th century. Coin hoards from Bulgaria reveal panic saving. One contained 4,000 antoniniani, sorted by silver content. Owners were literally grading their own money. Military pay records show soldiers being paid daily by 250 CE because monthly pay lost too much value. One graffito reads, Hodi denarios mille, cras nihil. Today 1,000 denarii, tomorrow nothing. The most dramatic moment came in 274 CE when Aurelian attempted reform. His new Antoniniani were rejected not because they were debased, but because people no longer believed in Roman money at all. Archaeological evidence shows shops literally bricked up their coin slots and carved new signs advertising barter only. The Roman state response was brutal. Aurelian executed mint workers in Rome, believing they were sabotaging reform. But the real problem was psychological. Monetary trust, once broken, proved impossible to restore. The breaking point came at Milan in 268 CE, when Legion II Parthica refused salary payment in coins. Their demands, payment in gold aurae only, direct access to tax collection, and right to requisition supplies at sword point. This wasn't just about pay. It was the military abandoning the monetary economy entirely. Within 5 years, most legions had become self-governing economic units, essentially becoming medieval feudal lords 200 years early. By 280 CE, 90% of Mediterranean trade used barter rather than coins. A new term emerged, numis corte, leather money, because debased coins had less value than leather strips. Diocletian's response was history's first comprehensive economic central planning. His edict on maximum prices listed maximum prices for over 1,300 goods, but it would have required 400,000 enforcement officials, more than the entire Roman army. The edict failed within months. By 300 CE, tax records show fundamental shift from monetary to natural economy. Farms owed specific amounts of grain, oil, and meat rather than coins. This wasn't primitive. It was sophisticated adaptation to monetary collapse. Recent excavations at the Rome Mint uncovered a graffito dated around 274 CE. Quando numis moritur, Roma moritur. When the coin dies, Rome dies. Below it, another hand added, I am mortuus est. It is already dead. These skilled monetarii witnessed the transformation of the denarius from symbol of Roman power to worthless token. Their prophecy proved accurate, not because barbarians conquered Rome, but because Romans stopped believing in Roman money. The last silver Antoninianus in 294 CE contained 0.02% silver, effectively pure copper. Final Antoniniani were often just copper discs with silver wash so thin it wore off from handling. Modern network analysis reveals monetary trust collapsed in predictable patterns. Debasement effects radiated outward from Rome like ripples, but once trust broke, it contracted even faster. By 270 CE, coins minted in Rome were rejected in Ravenna, just 200 miles away. When Constantine founded Constantinople in 330 CE, he abandoned the denarius entirely for the gold solidus. The message was clear. The old Rome and its money were history. Trade volume on Mediterranean routes fell 90% between 250 to 350 CE. So here we are, back where we started. That tiny coin, the denarius, didn't just lose value, it represented something far more dangerous, the moment when governments discovered they could create money from nothing. The Roman mint worker's hesitation as he watched silver being diluted wasn't just about following orders. He was witnessing the birth of every financial crisis that would follow. Every hyperinflation, every currency collapse, it all traces back to that first decision to add just a little copper to Roman silver. Rome's wealth didn't vanish overnight. It was quietly diluted, coin by coin, emperor by emperor, until trust collapsed and civilization followed. The barbarians didn't destroy Roman money. Romans did that themselves. And the scariest part? Every government since has learned the same lesson and made the same choice. The question isn't whether it can happen again. The question is whether we're watching it happen right now.